Hey folks, my name is Kyle Allen, and I'm a recent graduate of the Honors Economics program with a specialization in public policy from the University of Waterloo. So after taking our high school's only course in economics, I knew I was hooked and I wanted to do economics at the undergraduate level. Now I chose Waterloo for two reasons. One, they have a world-renowned co-op program, and two, because their economics department is ranked among one of the best in Canada. While economics is a pretty competitive program, it's easy to make friends in the program based on similar interests and also similar classes. Waterloo has one of the best co-op programs in Canada, and doing co-op in econ specifically means that you can get a job in both the private and the public sector. So the bulk of the economics program at Waterloo is lecture-based, while some of the math and econometrics courses such as Econ 211, 221, 322, and 323 do have tutorials which give you an opportunity to practice and apply the methods being taught in lecture. The pace of the program absolutely depends on the course, the instructor, and the level of knowledge of the class. Most econ courses are evaluated by assignments, midterms, and finals, with the most weight being given to midterm exams. Unlike high school, where coursework is weighted at 70% and final exams are weighted at 30%, at UW and specifically in econ, final exams can range anywhere from 25% to 60% of your final grade. Oftentimes when assignments or midterms are done poorly by the vast majority of the class, they will often mark on a curve, which means bringing the entire class average up to around 75%. One of the key traits you need to possess to excel in UW economics is the ability to think analytically, and that is to be able to problem solve and think logically. Much of the economics program beyond first year is very math heavy, so you have to be able to understand and apply concepts from both algebra and calculus. But don't worry, you have courses on this stuff starting in second year. It goes without saying that the best way to understand material in economics is to show up, attend lectures, take good notes, ask good questions, and make sure you attend the tutorial sessions where you can apply what you've learned. In terms of studying, the best way to do econ is to practice econ. Doing practice questions that were presented in lecture is a good way to better understand the material. If I have one piece of advice to give for students, it's that even if you're not so great at math like I was, you can be good at math if you practice, apply, and ask questions. The core of the economics program at Waterloo centers around microeconomics, macroeconomics, and econometrics. The first and only two courses that you take in economics are not very math heavy and provide a general overview of the economic concepts crucial to understanding economics. Econ 101, or Intro to Microeconomics, explores how consumers and firms make decisions based on the scarcity of resources. In Econ 102, Intro to Macroeconomics, you learn how classical economists view the world, as well as an overview of money, money markets, and indicators of growth in the economy. While not required for the econ program, you can also opt to take a first-year calculus course, Math 104, in your first year to prepare you for the mathematical econ in second year. In the latter years of your econ degree, you can also opt to take various courses in various areas to fulfill any of the three specializations in either public policy, finance, or econometrics, all of which only require you to take 4 courses. If you're curious about understanding how the world works and why and how people make the decisions that they do, then economics is definitely for you. If you're interested in economics but are not sure about all the math and the stats, you can also just take econ as a minor, where the courses are not as mathematically rigorous. While marks are obviously important, UW looks for more than just marks when it comes to making their acceptance decisions. One of the key ways that you can earn an acceptance beyond your academics is through the AIF, or the Admission Information Form. This form is your opportunity to basically tell the university how awesome you are beyond your academics. In the AIF, you are encouraged to talk about your volunteer work, any courses you've taken on the side, any teams or clubs that you were a part of in high school, as well as any full-time or part-time jobs that you've held throughout high school. The mark cutoff for incoming high school students is usually mid to low 80s, and they must have taken a grade 12 university prep English course. It's also highly recommended that you take either grade 12 calculus or grade 12 data management, as both of those courses will help you in the more math-heavy econ courses starting in second year. If I had to recommend 2 courses before coming into UW Econ, one of them would be the Econ course offered by the high schools, and that one teaches you a little bit about intro to micro and macro, as well as grade 12 data management. That one will help with Econ 221 in second year with the introduction to probability and statistics. 2 courses that I would recommend taking once you are in UW Economics. One of the ones that I had the most fun with was Econ 207. That's Economic Growth and Development, usually taught by Professor Murgo. That one's really interesting and takes you on a deep dive into how poor countries operate in terms of like macroeconomic indicators and stuff. One of the other courses that I really enjoyed in 4th year was Econ 456, and that's Health Economics with Professor Pirard. And actually, I liked that course so much that I decided to do a master's in that area. Most of the introductory micro courses and macro courses, so Econ 101 and 102, most of those courses have multiple sections, which means as you're filling out your courses during the drop add period, you can actually switch into different sections of it depending on which course works best with your schedule. As you get up into the upper level econs, some of those only have one section, so you have no choice, or you could just take another econ course. One of the best tools for finding good and not so good courses in economics and in general is UW Flow. It gives you information on the course, the professor, and also people's opinions on whether it was hard or easy, or whether there was a lot of work or not enough work. With respect to the co-op program, UW Econ provides students the opportunity to work in both the public and the private sector. In the public sector, you can work for federal governments, provincial governments, or even municipal and regional governments like myself. You can also find jobs in the private sector working for the big banks, insurance companies, or any financial institutions. The UW Econ also prepares well for grad school, where you can go and get your MA in economics, you can go for a public policy degree, or you can go for an MBA if you are so business inclined. The co-op program at UW alternates between co-op and school, and every other term is a school or co-op term, and then you have an 8-month co-op term that you can take at the end and do all 8 months, or you can do 4 months of 2 different jobs at the very end. So with regards to housing, I personally did not live on campus or in any of the residences when I was doing my undergrad. However, I did have friends that went into residence, and all of them can attest that all of the residence activities and all the things that they do together really helps you make relationships, not only just in residence, but also in some of your classes as well. If you're off campus, it doesn't mean that you can't make friends off campus. We definitely made friends off campus, and UW also hosts off-campus events for those who aren't as fortunate to be in residence, but live close enough to be able to drive to campus. Waterloo itself is not a party school, but if you think about the school down the street, Wilfrid Laurier, those people are generally more party-ish. But Waterloo itself, the city of Waterloo, does have a lot of like nice bars and restaurants that you can go to for some time off, or you can chill out a little bit. There's tons of good spaces on campus to study, namely the Treehouse in Haggie Hall, the AHS building, or even the Dana Porter Library has spots for group study as well as individual study, and you can book out rooms in the library with whiteboards and TVs and all that stuff as well. In terms of exchanges, I've heard lots of good things about exchanges. Again, I personally haven't gone on an exchange, but the one thing that people who have gone on exchanges have attested to is that you really need to hone your focus and your academics while you're away, because even though you're away and having fun, you also still have to focus on school. In terms of diversity of the students on campus, UW hosts a lot of international students, and it's probably one of the more diverse universities in Ontario, second probably only to the University of Toronto. We have lots of students coming from Asian countries, as well as from India and Europe, and even south of the border as well. In terms of the supports available to students, UW has a lot of supports both academically and socially. Academically, if you're having trouble in a course, you can always talk to the professor. Most of them, especially in econ, are very good about, reiterating what they've taught if you're having trouble, or booking office hours to help them later on. A lot of econ courses also have a TA, like a teacher's assistant, who's usually a grad student, and they can help you work through some difficult material as well. With regards to the social scene, UW also has a lot of supports for the LGBTQ community, a lot of supports for female students, for females in science and business, and all of those kind of supports as well. In terms of final advice that I can give, I must say organization in university is so important. One of the things that I do whenever I start a new term is as soon as the syllabi come out for each course, I make sure to write down the dates and the evaluations and when they are and when things are due, and have one big calendar of every single thing that's going on throughout the entire course of the term. It's also good to keep track of your marks when you get them, both on assignments and midterms, so that you know what you have going into the final exams with, and you can adjust your marks accordingly. One thing I will say is don't get too down in the dumps. Obviously, when you're in high school, you think you're riding high, you're getting 80s and 90s. Sometimes in university, you might get there and the standards might change. You might end up getting a bad mark every once in a while, but don't get too down in the dumps. Keep pushing through, keep asking good questions, and keep practicing. And talk to other people, because I guarantee you're not the only one in that boat. If there's one thing I wish I knew before coming into UW Economics, is that it is incredibly math heavy, but it is incredibly rewarding. Once you can understand the math, you can get into a lot more interesting topics and stuff that'll stick with you long after you're done at the University of Waterloo.